Hi, I'm Rasheed Ogunlaru, coach, speaker and author, and welcome to the April 2017 issue of Catch the Coach, your newsletter for success and fulfillment. And what's really exciting is that we're now into British summertime. The clocks have gone forward here in the UK. It is brighter, it is warmer, there is more daylight and so on. And so this made me think about the whole theme around time and how it is that you feel about time and how it is that you're able to make the most of your time. So this issue has a thread of time through it. I'm going to cover the news, I'm going to cover our top tips as usual, and I'm going to touch on some events. So let's kick off. First of all, news. First of all, huge congratulations to all the entrepreneurs on the new batch of the Innovating for Growth program. I'll mention more about that later. But it was a pleasure to see you for the first day for my Ready Now workshop. Huge congratulations also to the new cohort and West London Mental Health's leadership program for BME staff. It was a delight to work with you over the Leadership Centre over 3 days last week. And congratulations to the latest cohort of staff at Barts NHS Trust on our award-winning programme for women and BME staff. Over 250 people have been through this programme, many of whom have gained jobs, new opportunities, and almost all of whom have gained more confidence and just, feeling better about themselves and making all sorts of personal areas of progress and feeling more contented within themselves. So congratulations to everybody there. Right, let's pick up on this topic of time. I'm going to just share with you my 10 quick tips relating to time. One, what's your relationship with time? And would it be better that your relationship is one where you're embracing of it? So that's my first tip. 2, are you lost in time? Are you a fortune teller where you're constantly focused on the fortune, on the future? Or are you a historian where you're constantly focused on the past? Or is it that you need to be a little bit more present? Tip 3, how is it that you view time? Do you always feel that it's going too fast, too slow, too this, too that? Remember, it is subjective and it all depends on your perspective, whether it is that you feel that it's going slowly or whether it's going too fast. So sometimes the more you can just step back, the more it is that you will have more perspective over it. Tip 4, and this is absolutely key, time, energy and tasks. Remember that time, as you experience it, is finite. Also will be your energy. Your energy levels are actually going to vary. So the key thing here is how you tackle tasks. So my tip is that it's best to be wise with time and to think about what are the activities that are really, really most important to me, strategically, pragmatically. Tip 5, the time of your life. What stage are you in your life? Whatever stage, whether it is that you're young and you've got so much energy and so much new opportunities, or whether you're at a later stage of life where you have so much experience and you have perspective, embrace it and decide that it is to your advantage. Tip number 6 is what time do you need to give yourself, loved ones, things that are really important to you? So what is it the time that you need to give and to other things that are important to you? Tip 7, what times are best for you? What times is it you're best for different tasks? Really sit with that. There's a lot in that. And when I'm coaching people running workshops, I spend a lot of time to get them to think about what times of the day are they best for different tasks. Okay. Tip number 8, wake up and bedtime. What time are you best for these? I think lots of people struggle with this hugely. Sometimes half an hour earlier to bed and half an hour earlier to rise can make more than an hour impact benefit in terms of what you gain from your time, in terms of the quality of time. So do you need to adjust those times? Next up is feeding time, tip number 9. What times is it best that you have your meals? Do you need to shift those times? I've, for example, just brought back down the time of my last meal time so I can eat a little bit earlier in the evening. Tip number 10, what time is it that you waste? If you've got some wasted time, again, when you're aware of what times you're at your best, you can just make some adjustments. Could you reassign that time? If, for example, you know that you're not really good in the afternoons for certain heavy intellectual thinking, maybe you could be doing administrative things during that time. Tip number 11, our penultimate tip, is this a time to decide? What times do you find it's best for you decision making? Are you best to sleep on a decision rather than being reactive all the time? And finally, tip 12, time out. Know when you need to take breaks and to rest. So that's that. That brings us nicely on to my next theme for this issue, which is it time to let the sun shine in? Let the sun shine in, as that wonderful song goes. Just 5 very, very, very quick tips here. One is walk more, see the world, enjoy it. They all say that we need the vitamins, the energy that we get from the sun. 2, is it time for a break? Is it time, now can be a good time as we're in this bank holiday season to plan those mini breaks or the summer holidays. Tip number 3, break those bad habits. Sometimes we stick behind our desk and we don't go for a walk, or we don't take the lunch breaks that we need. Tip 4 is linked to that, which is a life balance reminder, and make sure that you put in the time for you, loved ones too, and things that you love to do. And tip number 5, being present, because you might be out there and letting the sun shine in, but you might be caught up with all the other things that it is you're doing, preoccupied. And this is something I've needed to be mindful of recently. So being present, perhaps a little bit of time where the phone is away, and the thing is you can just be present there with what it is that you're seeing or the people it is that you're with. Right, next up is our tip for the month. Tip for the month this month is, what is it that you, from moving from what you perceive that you lack to what you have. Pretty much from when we're in adulthood, and often from much earlier on, we are taught to see life through the lens of what we don't have, rather than what it is that we lack. So we often worry about what's not in place, what we feel we've got to do, things that other people have, strengths that we feel that we should be developing, what we should, could, and all the rest of it be doing. And that often takes us away from our strengths, from our skills, from what we have, from appreciating things around us from a place of gratitude. It can be taxing, it can be very tiring, it can be debilitating. So my tip for the month is to start from your strengths, start from appreciating what you already have. That might just be yourself, some level of health and well-being, it might be friends and some loved ones and family. There might be a roof over your head, there might be food in the cupboard. Focusing on what it is that you have rather than what you lack. And a tip is that just to wake up each morning and spend a few minutes in gratitude going through what it is that you do have. It will give you so much more energy. Okay. I'm mindful that many of you are on the journey or have been thinking about for a long time this thing about being your own boss. So my next theme in this newsletter, where we're exploring elements about time, is it time for you to be your own boss. Sometimes events will make that happen in my life. Sometimes where I was made redundant, or where I wasn't really enjoying what I was doing, or I was sensing that there's something else that I could be doing. Every year, thousands of people set up businesses, many of whom fail through lack of planning and being ready and being conscious and being really committed to that journey and having researched their market and other factors. So I just wanted to give a couple of pointers here. There's all sorts of support resources, books, tools and information online. One place that I want to flag up to you is the British Library's Business and Intellectual Property Centre. Many of you will know that I've been the life and business coach partner to the library for the last 10 years now. And they provide a range of help and support, advice and resources for people who are starting, thinking about or growing their own businesses. But the library also have now a network of other business and IP centres too in other parts of the country. So I also just want to bring 2 specific things to your attention. If you're starting, look out for the library's Innovating for Growth Startups program. This is a brilliant 2-day program that will help you with everything from nuts and bolts through to the marketing and all the rest of it. And then the second program I want to bring to your attention is Innovating for Growth Scale-Ups. That's for you if you've been in business for a while, if you're turning over more than £100,000, you could be getting £10,000 worth of tool support, resources support, information, guidance, workshops and so on for free. So take a look at the link underneath this newsletter to find out about the British Library and about those particular programs and if you could be eligible for them. We're nearing the end. Just a couple of things I want to talk about. Events. You know that once every month I run my networking event. Maybe it's time for you to come along. Maybe it's time for you to make some new connections, friendships, be it for your business or be it for your career progression. So you'll be welcome there. Workshop has two parts. The first part is helping you is the skills part, helping you to network effectively, strategically, and nerve-free. And the second part is actually networking time, where you can build those connections. The second event is my quarterly Soul Trader Your Life, Your Business workshop. This will take you on the journey of 7 steps of clarity, customers, courage, cooperations, conversations, creativity, and compassion. And finally, an additional chapter, which is all about change and embracing change. Finally, the last theme I want to talk about today is back to brilliant. Health and well-being is key at any time, or any time in our life, any stage. And mindful, lots of people struggle with things like sleep, food, eating, posture, diet, fitness, you name it. I decided to catch up with my friend and holistic well-being expert, Adam Cox, to interview him about his new book, Back to Brilliant. I was trying to find it somewhere in this room. Which takes people through 5 steps to reconnect, rebalance, recenter themselves, and to help them to move forward and recover. So I interviewed Adam to get some tips on how you can do those things, how it is that you can be more mindful about your health and your well-being, and he shares some tips about his story and tips generally, and walks us through his 5 steps. So I'll post a link to that here, and if you're reading the newspaper version of this, the paper version, the email version of this, you'll be able to see a link straight through to that, but otherwise you'll find that here on my YouTube channel. That's about it. I want to thank you. I want to wish you a wonderful time, a wonderful month ahead, a wonderful springtime. Enjoy the bank holidays that are coming up, and take good care. See you later. Bye-bye.